Last year during fall camp, Oregon and their media and creative team came out with this documentary titled That Team Out West. And it kind of ruffled some feathers a little bit with some teams in the Big Ten that are on the West Coast to say, no, we're that team out West. We're that team out West. But I think it's fairly certain, especially the way year one really went in the Big Ten, that Oregon, at least as of right now, in the current slate of things, is that team out West. They are the dominant team on the West Coast, 13-0, Big Ten champions. This is a team that beat Ohio State during the regular season. They beat Penn State during the Big Ten championship. They beat Michigan during the regular season. They did everything that they were supposed to do to really come in and capture people's attention in year number one. I think a big Big Ten question that I have right now is someone going to step up and challenge Oregon on the West Coast? I'm going to talk about this year, but I'm also going to talk about the future as well. Let's start first with USC. USC is the team historically, if I'm looking at who is that team out West historically? USC, of course, with their championships and their Heisman Trophy winners. They are a blue blood. They have an extremely rich history, and they're not going to be down forever. I think that's one thing that people need to understand. I really thought that 7 wins was the bottom, but then Lincoln Riley one-upped himself by achieving a 6-win season this past year. But in terms of 2025, I think the big question to see if USC can kind of step up to the challenge, and even this season, I believe that USC is the team that has as good a chance as any to maybe get at least in the same ballpark or at least in the same stratosphere of where Oregon is sitting right now. I think for USC, a big key is how far can they ride Mekhi Lemon and Jacoby Lane? Can they ride the Lemon and Lane train to success? I think that's as good a wide receiver duo as there is in the Big Ten right now. Now, once you get beyond the guys, there's not as much depth, I think, in the wide receiver room this year as there was last year. Can Jaden Mayava, who's going to be the starting quarterback for USC, is he going to be in a position to make good enough decisions consistently? Because remember, he certainly showed some flashes when he came in to be the starting quarterback at the end of last season, but he also made some bad decisions. A couple of pick sixes late in the game against Notre Dame really cost them a chance to upset the Irish at that point in season. That's a big thing for me, is that wide receiver combination. I think it could give a lot of teams a lot of problems in the Big Ten, and if Jaden Mayava can really get under this Lincoln Riley learning tree and really take a lot of development forward, that could be a combination that could give a lot of people problems. They're losing 3 guys on the offensive line, on an offensive line that wasn't great overall. I don't think there's been a ton of upgrades on the O-line personally. I think this defense is going to continue to take steps forward. They took a big step forward last year. We'll see how many steps forward that they're going to take this season. I'm not ultra keen on USC is going to surprise everybody and going to win 9 games or to win 10 games. I honestly think that 2025 is a bridge to an extremely bright future in Los Angeles, 2026, 2027, and beyond. This recruiting class that they're putting forth right now, they are recruiting at an elite level. They're recruiting at a level that you would expect USC to be able to recruit at. Chad Bowden deserves all of the credit for that to happen. But, I say all of these things, and I still come back to Lincoln Riley. Maybe I'm just a Lincoln Riley hater. Maybe that's just what I am now. I wasn't at the beginning of last season, but maybe that's what I am now. All of the positive things that are happening in Los Angeles at USC, I still come back and I'm like, can Lincoln Riley win games in the Big Ten? Is this a team that can win battles in the trenches? Are they focused in the right spot? Is he good enough as a play caller? All of these things are still creeping into my mind. Is he a guy that can take a Jaden Mayava at quarterback and turn him into this great talent that he's produced at the quarterback position before? I have a lot of questions. I have some doubts creeping into my mind. I love about every other thing about USC except Lincoln Riley. It kind of gives me the heebie-jeebies a little bit right now. I'm gonna be honest with you, but I feel much better about USC in the future, kind of get into that level where Oregon is, than I feel about the 2025 season. Let's talk about the Washington Huskies. This is a sneaky team for 2025. Okay, you have Jedd Fisch, and you kind of have his background from an offensive perspective, an offensive coach. You got Damon Williams. I think Damon Williams is going to be a great quarterback this year. I'm really excited about what he could be. Now, I think they're a little bit better on the offensive line, but they need to be a lot better on the offensive line to really get the most out of Damon at the quarterback position. Jonah Coleman was a 1,000-yard running back last season. You got Denzel Boston, and then you bring in Amari Evans from Penn State. Like, there's some weapons on the offensive side of the ball. There's some things to get excited about this season in Seattle, and I kind of took a peek at their schedule, and I'm like, oh, there's some things fitting together here where if everything clicks in year 2 for Jedd Fisch, this could be a team that could give some people problems. But we're talking about getting up to where the Oregon Ducks, their arch rival, that hated team down south there on I-5 is. Like, that's where we need to get to. Washington can be maybe a sneaky, little bit of a scary team in 25. I don't think they're going to get to that level. Like, the thing we need to know about Washington, and I want to preface this by saying this. There's nothing wrong with this. Washington historically has been a team that's maybe rid the roller coaster a little bit. Like, they'll ride at 6 or 7 wins, and they'll go to 8, they'll go to 9, they'll go to 10, they'll peak up. But it's been hard over the course of time for Washington to maintain 9, 10, even 11 wins consistently over a 4 or 5 year period. We've seen Oregon has been able to do that, and we've seen USC has been able to do that. So honestly, I think Oregon and USC are the teams on the West Coast that are going to be able to achieve that type of consistent success. I think Washington is actually in a group maybe a little bit more towards UCLA, where maybe they can peak up a little bit, but I'm not sure if they can certainly stay at that level throughout the future. Although this team is better, I still think there's multiple steps from where Oregon is right now. But you can see where Jedd Fisch is certainly building this thing. A big talking point was Washington recently flipping 5-star offensive tackle Cody Green from Oregon to Washington. The Huskies are right now sitting with a top 25 class. So things are maybe, you talk about that roller coaster where maybe things went down after those 2 Kalen DeBoer years. Maybe they're slowly but surely building their way up for the Huskies over there in Seattle. For UCLA for this year, Nico's got to put the team on his back. Plain and simple. Nico, I think, can be a superstar quarterback, and he needs to be a superstar quarterback. For UCLA to, one, get to the postseason, get to a bowl game. They fell 1 game short last season. And number 2, be able to kind of rise up to that level that we're talking about. Like, this is a UCLA team that got Ohio State on their schedule. They got Penn State. They're going to go on the road to USC. They play Utah to kick off the season. Even like going on the road to UNLV, Dan Mullen's team there this year, even that's not the easiest thing in the world. So I don't think the schedule shapes up super well for UCLA, certainly to get to that level. And this is a team that loses a lot on defense. They had a handful of NFL draft picks. Like, you lose Jay Toia on the defensive line. Carson Schlesinger was the leading tackler in the Big Ten. Kane Madrano, Olafemi Oladejao. Like, you lose 5 seniors in the secondary. That's a lot to backfill when you maybe don't have a team that hasn't recruited as well as UCLA has. We can maybe blame part of that certainly on Chip Kelly. They got to go at Indiana as well. Like, I don't know if I see it now, and I don't know if I see it in the future for UCLA to really contend at that type of level. It's going to take a lot of resources. It's going to take a lot of time and effort, I think, to consistently be where Oregon is when you talk about some of these other teams on the West Coast.